travelled thousands of miles, and not all of it by jet ski, to what could legitimately be called paradise. St. Pete in Clearwater, Florida is famous for its white sandy beaches, fresh seafood and gorgeous sunsets, but less so for its unexpected cultural quirks, one of which is an incredible brewing scene. So for the next few weeks we're going to show you just how spoilt the region is for its amazing beer, world-class breweries and even unique local beer styles. This week we're at 7venth Sun Brewing, who we also visited during our Florida Weisse film. Founded by Devon way back in January 2012, it's been one of the most influential breweries in the growth of St. Pete and Clearwater's beer culture. They recently opened a big brewing site in Tampa off the back of bold but crushable fruited sours and endless variations of IPA. But like most early adopters in the brewing scene, they had to start small and do it all themselves. We met Devon where it all started, at her brew pub in the heart of Dunedin. So this is where you started?
Yes. So basically in this little hallway right here, we had our brew house and we would use rolling fermenters.
So you say rolling as in you literally...
Yeah, on wheels. Yeah, they're Latina tanks, they're wine fermenters. So they're really light, they're single walled and they're cheap. So it was a good way to start.
Yeah.
They're about 1/10 of the cost of a regular glycol jacketed fermenter. So it was a way to kind of get the ball rolling initially. We were just in this small space initially. I think it's 500-ish square feet in here, yep, including like this cooler and everything. So yeah, we just brewed in the hallway. Like we had to squeegee into that drain right there. We didn't have any nice, you know, sloped floors or anything like that. We used to have a bunch of stuff on this wall. And,
must be pretty damn warm as well, like when the boils go in.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the other thing too. Was initially we'd have to start brewing at like 4 o'clock in the morning because we needed to be done by the time we opened. And back then we didn't open until 3 p.m. But wanted to make sure everything was cleaned up, put away before we opened to the public. Otherwise, it would be kind of miserable in here. But yeah, so we would fill up those fermenters and then we would roll them into this room right here, which now is our office. And sorry, it's a little bit messy, but we store a lot in a little space. So we would roll the fermenters in here, and then we had a little like mobile air conditioning unit that we literally just roll right up to the side of the tank and set the temp, and then blast the tank, then just manually check temperatures, yeah, it was very rudimentary. Yeah. But also, I mean, one of the things that's funny, one of our main beers is graffiti orange, and the yeast that we use for it, it goes crazy at first. So that one was always really fun because it would just spew like yeast and like, it was awful all over the place. So you'd be like mopping it up, pulling it up with a bucket off the lid. It was, yeah, it was a mess. But I'm gonna close the door to that. So yeah, the fermentation would take place in there, and then we would roll it out from there into this cooler right here, which we, you know, still use to serve beer out of.
So this was here from the start?
Yes.
That's where you spent most of your time, I imagine, yes. Just like,
yeah.
Oh God.
It was, well, the other thing too was that because this is the only space that existed, it would get full really fast because every batch would have to go in there and be stored in there, and then we'd have to throw tanks in there, and we even had a cold liquor tank that was in there for a while. And so like pretty much like every few days I would have to like jigsaw and like move around and get it all.
Storing, cold crushing and serving all from in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah, but made it work.
Yeah. And when you first opened, were there lots of people really excited by it? So you were pretty busy and turning over the beer pretty fast? Yeah,
for sure. And the other thing too was that almost as a joke, we did like a donut porter to start, and we actually got a lot of press when we first opened. There was like newscasters came out, filmed it and everything, and so people would come, like we just did the porter just like as a one-time kind of thing, the donut porter. But everyone heard about it, so we'd have people coming in every day like, do you have that donut porter? Do you have that donut porter? And it's like, well, I guess we should make it again, you know? So, yeah.
So that got your name sort of outside of the beer bubble. It was like,
yeah,
there's a brewery that makes a beer with donuts.
Exactly.
And brought a lot of people in.
Yeah, so after a year, we acquired this space, and we still have our same brew house from the beginning. It's a stout system, 3.5 barrels. But we're able to finally invest in some real glycol jacketed fermenters. It helps definitely, especially with IPAs and things like that, doing them in those Latina tanks. I mean, they were still really good quality, but your your efficiency, like with the hops and dry hopping, it's like you had to put in a lot more to get that same dry hopped effect on something because it's blowing all of the you know, characteristics out of that thing.
Beer at the top,
yeah, exactly. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, she's showing a little bit of age. Definitely would like to do some renovations at some point. But
so you've got a big new site in Tampa, but you intend to keep this site going.
Yeah. So this was like main production all the time, cranking it out as hard as we could. I think the highest production volume we ever did out of this facility was like 760 barrels or something to that effect. A good amount for how little this is.
It's a place with probably twice the space that would have struggled to do the same.
It was a lot of work. So it's nice now to have the efficiency of the new place with a 15-barrel system, plenty of space, and then this is where we get to play. You know, this is 7 barrels at a time, and you know, we're not afraid to use like Brettanomyces here and kind of play with different things. And pretty much every week we're doing a new 7-barrel batch. New style, new beer that we've never done before. Every once in a while we'll bring back an old favorite or whatever, but most of the time it's constantly evolving.
Constantly evolving seems like a good way to describe 7th Sun. Of all the breweries we visited, they seem to have the widest array of beer styles on offer, showing a love of experimentation and a have-a-go approach to try new things that comes from brewing on such small scales for so long. Everything we tried was stellar, so we were keen to know more about Devon's background and where she was planning to take it all. When you started this place, you said that you were doing quite a lot of Belgian style ales and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Where did that inspiration come from if you weren't necessarily getting European imports?
I mean, just those are the kind of beers that I like to drink, you know, saisons, love saisons. I was a huge fan of like Cantillon and, you know, things like that. Obviously we weren't doing things of that nature right at the beginning, and obviously there's no one like Cantillon, but yeah, I don't know, just because they were harder to get, and I really like the fact that, you know, it's yeast driven. It's all kind of leaving it to the yeast and letting them do their job and creating something beautiful out of that.
Yeah.
You know? I actually got my degree in fermentation science from Oregon State University.
Right.
So I essentially had Bell's beer because I grew up in Michigan. That's where Bell's is from, and I had that probably a little bit before I should have had, you know, age-wise here. But I really fell in love with it. I thought it was so cool that you could create these kinds of flavors and do all these different kinds of things with beer. And so then I discovered that Oregon State had a fermentation science program, and I went there, and then from there got a job with Anheuser-Busch out of school. My intention was always to go into craft, but they paid well, and I figured it's good for the resume, and it was a really great experience. Yep. So I did that for a little while. I worked at their research pilot facility in St. Louis for a year, then went to Georgia, worked there for a year, and then worked at Sweetwater as their production manager for about almost 4 years. And then basically came down here because there just weren't that many breweries. It seemed like a really good opportunity, and there weren't a lot of breweries because of these ridiculous bottle laws that were in effect for so long. So Florida was a little bit behind the curve. Because of those laws, it created a lot of homebrewers in the state and in this area in particular. So a lot of people who love craft beer and are all about it. So it was prime, you know, for breweries to open here because people wanted the products.
Waiting for that to happen. Yeah,
exactly.
So you started with those Belgian ales and I guess probably some IPAs and stuff that was for the hopheads.
Yes.
But you guys were one of the earlier people to adopt the Florida Weisse style and name.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, back in the day, it was kind of like there was a few other associates in the industry. Ben Romano, who works at Angry Chair, Doug Dozark from Cycle. I'm probably missing some other people like Wayne from Cigar City. Like we were all kind of playing around with trying to make kettle sours and trying to figure out how to do it. There wasn't very much data or information on it at all back then. And so we would compare notes until we all kind of figured out, well, this is what's working, this is what's effective, and this is what gives you a clean, non-blue cheesy, you know, Berliner. And obviously there's a lot of, you know, Florida is a great place for fruits and it's hot, so the Berliner just fits.
Is it hot?
Florida Weisse fits. Yeah, you had no. Me neither. But yeah, so we thought it was a good fit, and it was fun. You know, it's just so fun. It's such like a blank canvas for throwing all sorts of fruit and playing around with it.
Where did the fruit come from? Had you seen other people doing it, or did you guys go, well, I think this lovely lemony base would be great with?
Yeah, it's just a natural fit. I mean, I don't really recall even if, I don't know if, I can't remember if other people were doing the fruit, but I mean, it seems so obvious, you know, it just...
I guess the Germans, with their blend of ice, were already adding woodruff syrup and stuff, so...
Exactly, yeah, so it's kind of like, well, let's just add the fruit from the beginning, let's throw it in the whole thing. And we also played around with doing some like dried fruits. There is a tea blender in Tampa, and actually originally in Davis Island, and she would make these amazing blends, and they're essentially just all like a blend of dried fruits. So they would make, you know, it's just really easy, throw it into the beer and it tasted amazing. So we started doing that a little bit initially, and then started getting into purees and then frozen fruits and things like that.
Right. So what sort of drove the success that has led you to be able to open a significantly bigger brewery? Was that the sours?
Definitely we're known for sours.
Yeah.
We also like to do a lot of different IPAs, and people love IPA and they like trying all sorts of different kinds. I think that. And I know it maybe sounds corny to say it, but quality is so key. You know, like having the beer be flawless, you know, no fermentation flaws, no issues like that. And if there is ever an issue, you don't serve it, you don't sell it, you don't put it out there. And I think that was a big part of it. One, that we were doing a lot of different creative styles, playing with different ingredients, doing things that hadn't really been done, at least in Florida at the time. And now you see a lot of breweries, it's kind of what a lot of breweries are doing regularly now. So it's cool, and it's now we're all kind of pushing each other further to the next level by going, okay, now what new thing can we create, you know? But I think it was doing things that people had never tried before. I think people love anything with fruit, anything that's pink, people love that. You know, like red dragon fruit beers are so cool. They look like electric purple. I mean, I don't know how you can't not love that, you know? Yep. But doing that and just making sure that the quality is always there, and that you're never putting something that's not good into somebody's face.
It's kind of quality, and it's also appealing to people that maybe they're outside of your reference point, trying to go, well, look at this wacky colour, give it a go. Look at this fruit that we've added, give it a go. Which is, I think, why also pastry stouts have been so successful. It's because you're going, well, if you love coffee, there's coffee in this. If you love chocolate, there's chocolate in this.
Exactly. Dessert.
It appeals. Yeah, exactly. It appeals to people outside of that beer bubble, which is really important for the growth of craft beer, particularly. Maybe there's a slight kind of glass ceiling at the moment where we've reached all the people we can reach within the craft beer bubble, and we need to somehow find the way out of it.
Going out, exactly.
So what's going to be the plan for you now? So you've got it's 15 barrel, you said, the new site. Is that going to mean you're going to be able to expand out a lot more, or is Florida still full of growth for you guys?
There's definitely a lot of growth still in Florida. We'll send beers on occasion to Atlanta, and sometimes have gone to like Boston and New York and stuff, mainly for events and festivals. But and then also overseas, been to Copenhagen several times, Sweden for Brewskaval, things like that. So a little bit out there, but there's still so much to be done in Florida in terms of, you know, really like with cans that we're selling right now, it's pretty much only in Tampa Bay, and so that hasn't even been scratched the surface of in the rest of the state. Yeah. So the packaged stuff being local is obviously great for craft beer, unpasteurized, unfiltered, full of very delicate oils and stuff like that. Yeah, having it super fresh and having it local is you know, big time. So.
And what about your plan for this site, little old faithful?
Yes. Basically, I want to keep doing the same thing we've been doing. Maybe just kind of put a little money into renovating it a little bit. She's definitely showing a little bit of wear, but I mean, it's cozy, it's comfortable. I think one of the things that's so cool about this place is that we've, like, couples have gotten together, friendships have been made. Like, it is a place where you come, it's like Cheers. You come, you meet, you hang out with people. We don't have TVs, and our regulars, you know, they love that. We have people that come here like literally every day, and several of them. So I don't want to change it, you know.
The story's there. You don't want to interfere with it too much.
Exactly. Maybe just, you know, redo the floors or something.